Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of the Future Proof Podcast. I'm your host, Brent Muller. I'm joined today by our guest, Natalie Kaminski from JetRockets. Natalie, great to have you.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So Natalie, let's jump right in. Tell us a little bit about you and your background and kind of how you got to the CEO of JetRockets.
Oh, I'm happy to. So I actually started in the tech space a very long time ago, back in 1998. So way before, being a woman in tech was even a topic of conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not roughly about right. I mean, it wasn't a ton of women back then.
No, it was not. We're still the minority, I must add, but back then it was even more so an issue. But I fell into tech literally because it was the time to be in tech, right? So think back 1998, Y2K.
Yeah.
Lots of job opportunities. People were just hiring left and right. Anyone who claimed that they knew computers in any form could get a job.
Especially if you were a COBOL programmer getting ready for Y2K, right?
COBOL, yes. Visual Basic, that was my first, I want to say it was VB6 maybe. Just thinking back, I might be my versioning wrong.
But you're probably pretty close.
Yeah. So I came out of high school, I moved to the US, Minneapolis of all places, from Israel. I was just right out of high school. I did not know much about programming,
Let me just say something for all of our viewers, right? For people that don't know, some of the best tech talent anywhere comes from Israel. So this is not a shock to me at all. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Natalie.
No, you're not wrong. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I moved and I needed a job and an opportunity presented itself. And I passed an interview within an hour, but not because I was a genius, but I think it was it were the times, Companies were desperate to hire anyone who was willing to work. And I was one of those people. And I was hired as a junior developer. And my first assignment was to help migrate a database from a 2-digit year set to a 2-digit year set.
So you were in Y2K right away.
I take all the credit for saving.
Yes, absolutely.
About that.
Yeah. Yes.
But I'm not going to bore you with every year since. It's been a long time. But just to give you like a high level, after spending about 6 months in that job, I learned 2 things about myself. First, I was not a programming material. Like I did not want to program. I found it tedious and boring. And again, the frameworks and the development environments of those times were very different from
right
of today. Right. So it was a different job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I knew that I wanted to stick with technology and I was desperate to find a place or sort of like, how do I fit into technology? Because I saw the potential. I saw like what we were doing with tech, even back in 1998 and, what the opportunities could have been. And so the next 10 years or so, I spent working in pretty much every role within the software development lifecycle. I was a QA engineer. I was a business analyst. I was a webmaster in the early 2000s because that was right. I was a project manager. I was a database architect for a short period of time. Like all of these experiences have really allowed me to learn software development lifecycle from kind of like inside out, right?
Yeah.
Like I knew a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
Which came in very handy with my last corporate or a job that I had.
Right.
I moved to New York by that time. My relocation story goes from Minneapolis to Boston, where I went to school while working full time, and then ultimately ending up in New York. I took a job for a small software development company that was developing custom software solutions for hedge funds and other financial companies.
New York, does that make sense?
Absolutely. And my job was kind of, I guess, official title became the chief operating officer. But, it's a small company. So I was kind of wearing different hats. I was pretty much like the number 2 person in the company. And that experience have allowed me to learn the business side of running a software development company, which that surely led to me going out on my own. In 2008, 2009, I kind of left that job and I decided to see what else was out there for me. I started with freelancing and honestly, the rest is kind of history because one gig led to another project, led to me having to hire a couple of people to help me, which led to another project. And then it just snowballed from there. And that's how JetRockets was born, really out of, there was never a business plan. There was never an idea, let me build a consultancy, let me build a company. It happened, and we've learned, we've had to pivot a lot. I mean, we've been in business for almost 14 years now, actually. Over 14 years. And we've had a lot of different kind of implementations of JetRockets throughout these years, right? Like we've had a lot of different faces to the company, like who we were, who we tried to be, the type of businesses we service. And I think today, the last 4 years or so, we finally arrived at who we want to be when we grow up.
Yes. Well, now that you're all grown up, tell us a little bit about that. What was the epiphany and what is JetRockets' main mission today?
Yes. So our goal really is to work on exciting projects and to build products and platforms for our customers, right? And I know it's a loaded term, but we get a lot of excitement about working with non-tech founders. People want to launch a product in the technology sector, but may not know what it takes, right? Like,
right.
You read a lot about, can I do it on low code or no code? At which point do I outgrow low code solutions? At which point do I need an actual, software engineer to come in and help me develop my product? So we love building products. That is our passion. We're kind of industry agnostic. We have clients in the financial sector. We have clients in travel, real estate, media, a wide healthcare and wellness has become a pretty sector over the years. And that's what makes it exciting because we get to learn about so many things, right?
Yeah.
Exposed to a lot of different business problems. We get exposed to a lot of different ideas across the gamut of industries, which helps us to be better at what we do and to bring that expertise to our clients, right? Like a lot of this expertise applies cross industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having this opportunity to be exposed to a lot of different sectors is really helpful. And that is actually one of the reasons my employees really enjoy working for JetRockets is because they don't get boxed into
doing the same thing, right?
Like fintech forever, or like only healthcare, or only this, or only that. Yeah. We do a lot. Yeah.
I get it. As you look forward, because listen, I think the neat part about where you're at with JetRockets and building products and platforms is that when I look down the road, right, and I want to get your perspective, when I look down the road, products and platforms are everything, right? That's what everybody wants to do. And so I don't think there'll be any shortage of work for you. So I think that is a really cool thing. Tell me about, before I even ask the next question, tell me about your differentiator, right? Like when people say, hey, why JetRockets over someone else?
Well, a couple of things. So first, I should mention that we have a technical expertise, which we have always been and continue to be a Ruby on Rails shop. We really believe and love Ruby, Rails, the way it approaches development, the way it makes development delightful and easy, or easier.
Easier, right. Never easy, but easier.
Yeah. I mean, developers love working in Rails, and it's just, as my CTO says, he uses the word, it's a delightful experience, and I agree with him. So that is one. So we have, very deep expertise in specifically Ruby on Rails. So a lot of our clients come to us because they may have built a platform using Ruby on Rails and they want to scale it. They don't necessarily know how to do it the right way. So, with those tasks. But also Ruby on Rails is one of those technologies that allows you to spin up products fairly quickly, unlike some other technologies. So that's why it's an incredible fit for anything like MVP or, like we need to launch as soon as possible and test our hypothesis. So it's a very good match for startups, right? So that's one. But that's on the technical side. I think what truly differentiates us is our approach to our client relationship. So most of our clients work with us for a very long period of time, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, we're not just code writers, right? We don't just like write code and then move on to the next project.
Right.
What we do is we develop this relationship that translates into like long-term partnership where JetRockets really takes care of your tech while you focus on your business, on the tech.
The core business part. Right.
Core business. And you don't need to worry about building your internal development team or, whatever that might be. And the way we do that is by actually learning your business. We're embedding yourself. Like we're actually trying to understand, what are you building? Why are you building this? We push back quite a lot in our relationship with clients. There are a lot of software companies that they'll just do everything that the client wants them to do. With JetRockets is quite on the contrary. We often question our clients' decisions. We advise them sometimes to our own detriment, right? We say, we don't think you need to develop this feature. I mean, we're saying no to money, right? But But that is part of that trust and relationship, right? I'm thinking long term. So,
and I love that. And you know what, Natalie? I think that what you just kind of hit on is what I tell a lot of other founders and CEOs, right? Is that you need to start to think about what your core businesses are, and you partner with companies like yourself, because vastly underestimated is how to grow and manage a tech team for sure, but especially when you're building and maintaining a product or a platform. And the fact that you have so much experience in that and you partner with your clients, to me, you're more of a tech partner than an outsourced solution.
Absolutely. And that is precisely how we try to position ourselves. If you just need to outsource a bunch of technical tasks.
Yeah. Not you, right?
Not us.
Yeah.
If you need a partner who is going to help you grow and scale and take care of your platform long term, that's where we come into play, and we essentially become your development department.
Yeah. I love that.
Then it goes beyond development, right? Take care of your servers. So like we do the DevOps, and then make sure your system is up and running, and then backups are happening. And we kind of, like I said, we take care of your tech, you take care of your business.
Yeah. Love that. So tell me what you've seen in the industry, right? From your perspective, right? The changes that you've seen over the last few years, and then what you see coming down the road. With AI, automation, data, right? Everything's really going to change fast. Tell me about, what you've seen before and then what you're seeing down the road.
Of course. So let's put AI aside for just a moment, because obviously that's the big topic we can talk about a long time and very opinionated around it. But the big thing that really happened over the past couple of years is the massive adaptation of this, what they call low-code, no-code platforms that allow, especially that have truly democratized access to launching a tech platform. And I'll be honest, I was very skeptical when they first arrived. And
I was too.
Can you really do things? And I've learned over the last couple of years that yes, you can certainly accomplish a lot, right? And I often, when I meet new potential clients and they come and they share their ideas with me, I oftentimes say, look, we might be like not the right stop for you at this stage. You may want to start with the low code, no code solution, prove your concept, build your, what we call a POC, right? Or whatever. Make sure you can start attracting clients. And depending upon what your business goals are, you may not need to graduate. And I put graduate in parentheses sort of, right? You may or may not need to develop a custom build. So on the one hand, a lot of my business went away this way, right? Like I've lost some potential clients.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's a good thing because now the clients that we work with have either truly gone through this whole product market fit exercise. An easy to build solution that did not cost them a lot. So They still have good amount of money and budget to invest into a good, into a platform built from scratch.
Yep.
Also, the platforms that we've been working on the past couple of years have become just so much more complex, which is awesome. I mean, it's as engineers, we love solving a good puzzle or a good challenge.
Yeah, I get that.
Right? So like building something complicated is very rewarding for all of us. And so now I'm welcoming, I have several companies that we have very good relationship with, and I'm always sending, I make referrals to these low code, no code like companies all the time. Like, look, you're too soon, you're too early for us, but go speak to so-and-so and they might be able to help you launch your initial proof of concept. Or even
But it probably is better because when they do come back to you, when they do find that product market fit, now your developers know what to build a lot easier, right?
Absolutely. 100%. So it's been net positive, right? It's like yes, we've lost some market share, but that's okay because on the other side, we've gained so much more clarity and better projects and, better equipped founders too.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. That makes a lot of sense.
So that changed a little bit. And now, talking about AI, I mean, most certainly AI is changing. Like I can't everything, right? You think about AI is there, and it should be. It's great. There seems to be two very polarized thoughts of school, right? Like somebody claims, oh, we don't need engineers. We can fire all of our engineers and, AI is going to write my code.
Right. Nothing could be further from the truth, but go ahead.
Do not subscribe to that notion.
Yes.
But also there are those that say, I cannot do anything. And that is also wrong, right? I mean, today I see AI as, like you mentioned before, it's an assistant. It's almost like I imagine that's what mathematicians felt when calculator was created. Like, cool, we can do faster. We don't need to spend hours on manually calculating these great numbers.
Exactly.
We can just plug it in, right? And get the answer. So I'll tell you, my team, all of my engineers definitely utilize AI in their daily life, right? So they use Copilot that is embedded into their development environment. Where it especially comes in handy is code coverage. As in test, I meant code test coverage. So as code is being developed, it's a good practice to cover your code with tests to make sure that if in the future you're going to make changes to your code, then all the logical components will remain intact, etc. So, before AI, you had to write those tests manually. Now, a good portion, again, not 100% coverage, but a very significant portion of those tests, it's just getting written by, the Copilot or whatever AI tool you're using.
Whatever AI, you're right. Exactly.
So it's phenomenal. It makes my engineers very, very much more productive,
And probably code quality goes up, right? Because they're finding bugs faster and
one important thing that people must understand is that in order to be effective and in using those tools, you actually need to know to code.
Yes.
Couldn't agree more. You cannot just say, oh, write this application for me and wait for AI to do all the magic. I mean, it'll probably do something for you, but you won't be able to tell whether or not it did it the right way. And most likely will not. And most likely there will be a lot of, edge cases or even not so edge cases that it didn't cover. You won't be able to tell the difference. So again, it's a huge misconception that engineers can be let go and you can build complex systems using AI. That's not.
And forget data and integrations between systems.
Security, right? That's a whole other conversation.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, as of today, this is where we are. Where are we going to be tomorrow? I mean, who knows, right? You read the news or you follow some of those Twitter accounts and you're like, oh my.
Yeah, the world's ending, right? Yeah.
But at the same token, this is what I'm thinking. If at some point AI is going to get to the ability of just replacing engineers, that must mean that most other professions have already been replaced.
Right, right. We're a long way from that. You know what
I,
I always say, Natalie, is that they're your best co-pilot or assistant, right? And that's how, that's how co-pilot came about, right? The name is that they were using AI, developers were using AI side by side, and they called them their co-pilots,
yeah,
right? And, you can't fly a plane with just a co-pilot, right? You fly the plane with the pilot, and the co-pilot helps do everything else. That's what AI is right now, and that's what people need to say. And I had another podcaster that told me that they call them digital coworkers, and that's what they are.
okay.
Yeah.
One thing I want to make sure to mention is that, for instance, like I said, all of our engineers use AI. On the same token, we discourage our junior people from using AI.
Yeah, it's too much of a crutch, right? Yeah.
We want them to learn.
Yeah.
And that, I think, like, the big problem right now is what to do about junior engineers, because people say, well, what AI can do is kind of equivalent to what a junior engineer can do. And to an extent, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, junior engineers, and that is the reason why we kind of like, we discourage our junior engineers from using AI, and we want them to learn on their own, right?
Yeah.
And then slowly incorporating AI.
So it's funny you say that, right? Because I think it was a Stanford group where this co-pilot thing, I got to look it up and I'll send it to you. But they said they had two groups, right? And I think they were developers. And one they had they made the AI almost like sit next to them like a co-pilot, right? And again, hence for the name. The other group where it didn't work as well is that they had the developer on one side and they had the AI kind of on the other side, and they treated it like a junior developer. And that did not work. And that's where this all came about. And I had a podcaster tell me the story. And I said, I need to go and read all about that, because that actually is a great explanation of how to use AI the right way versus the wrong way. And you're hitting on, right? Is don't let the junior developer think that just AI replaces it.
No, it's very far from there. And on top of it, I'm going to add just one more thing is, I think engineers could potentially be replaced with AI only when the end user will be eloquent enough or intelligent enough to be able to explain what the problem is.
And I think an engineer has to be that end user, right?
Right. Because we build platforms
all day, every day, right? Yeah.
Every day. And the biggest struggle is actually understanding what the person wants, what our clients need, what they're envisioning, right? And every client is different, and every person thinks in different ways. And that is why, in our company, we have project managers whose job is to collaborate with our clients and navigate kind of their thoughts.
They're almost like interpreters, right?
Absolutely. They are interpreters. And you have to understand, it's not like for every client, the same strategy is going to work.
Right.
You have to adjust your strategy depending upon the personality of the person you're dealing with. So it's a lot of interpersonal skills that at this stage, AI is lacking.
Yes.
Right.
Big time. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think we're safe for the next few years. And then
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be an incremental. I equate it to when cloud came on board, right?
Yeah.
Like today, everybody uses the cloud, but when it came out, nobody wanted to use the cloud, right? But it's a gradual progression of understanding and building and developing, right? AI is going to be the same way.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit, as you look down the horizon for JetRockets, right? Where's your biggest growth opportunity? Is it with startups? Is it with newly funded startups? Or is it with people that have, just like you said, have really played around with their proof of concept?
So I think, or at least, we're trying to target companies that are small to medium-sized businesses that may want to, that are not necessarily tech companies.
Yeah.
And they want to bring technology into their daily business and introduce some efficiency, right? So like there's a lot of talk about like automation, AI agents, and this and that. again, you can take it so far for now.
Right.
I still believe that there's a lot to be said about custom development for those clients, building them systems that are very specialized to their business models, right? I mean,
It's their differentiator, right?
exactly. It's
Yeah.
the secret sauce. The idea is not to change the way you do business because the technology does not meet you where you want to be. The idea is to build technology that is able to support your secret sauce and your way of doing business, right?
Exactly.
And that's where we love to be because we love identifying those gaps in efficiency and be like, okay,
Right.
how can we improve that, right? But of course, at the same time, launching new products in a variety of different industries. I personally have been very interested in kind of like the femtech business. Like there's a lot of new products coming around, female healthcare,
Yeah.
sort of like products related to perimenopause and about like there's certain ages, right?
Yeah.
And then it's becoming very interesting. Everything to do with like wellness and health of specifically that demographics. I think it's very interesting.
I do too, by the way. Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah.
It's growing really fast because it's an underserved
Underlooked,
say.
underappreciated, like nobody wants to talk perimenopause to anybody.
Right. Right.
Or you don't.
Yeah. I
But
know.
yeah, but
No, you're right. Right.
yeah.
Right. Oh, and it's funny because the on the male side, it's the same thing. No one wants to talk about all the same things at that age. It's
Yeah.
a forgotten thing that I think people are starting to put focus on. And the only way to accelerate that is through technology platforms.
Absolutely, which is excellent. I mean, it's one of those, there's always going to be business in births and deaths and in all these other stages of life. So,
Amen.
yeah.
Yeah. And part of that is the GLP-1 craze, right? And all of those are enabled by technology platforms.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you're in a very cool spot. So, Natalie, I got a couple of questions for you as we always end, right, on this. One is, tell me something cool you as a CEO have done with AI personally, just something cool another founder might say, hey, I never thought of that.
Yes. So first, I must say that this was not my idea. I wish I could take credit for the idea itself.
It's okay. Now it's yours.
Yes, right. But I actually had a one-on-one with another founder, and we were kind of doing that, like, what do you do? What do you do? And he told me that he did something super cool, or he intended to. He intended to feed all of his email history to ChatGPT and be like, okay, learn about me and like talk to me, like, what do you want? So I've done something similar, right? I didn't take my entire email history, but I've downloaded a bunch of emails pertaining to specifically to client exchanges where there could have been like a misunderstanding, sort of like a resemblance of a conflict. I mean, I must add that very rarely those things happen, but then they did. And I said, could you analyze this information exchange and tell me what I should have done differently to clear up the situation before it became a situation, right? And that was a very interesting exercise. It took a few prompts, it took a few attempts, but I was able to pull out some interesting insights about my own dynamic and like how I tend to sometimes perhaps jump to conclusion. It opened my eyes and there's something to it, right? And I intend to continue experimenting with that type of analytics and basically say, hey, what can you learn about me? But also another thing is that, I mean, I've been using ChatGPT, the paid version, ever since it became available. It knows quite a bit by now. And I repeatedly asked it to tell me everything you know about me. Who am I? Create this persona of me. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? And you're basically that way. And I tell everybody I talk to, and you're probably third or fourth founder that has done the same thing by analyzing themselves. And I call it that in your case, that's Natalie AI. And you're creating Natalie AI, right? And what our goal is to help create Natalie's chief of staff, right?
Whoa.
And so that's kind of what we're working on behind the scenes, is to help founders and CEOs create their chief of staff, because the insights we're getting from this kind of feedback is hey, how do we develop a product for founders and CEOs only? Because you and your staff use it completely different.
Yeah.
Right? But you know that if you could be freed up to focus on really important strategic things and not have to do the things that kind of bog you down, right? That's what the chief of staff's supposed to do, right? The AI assistant, your assistant.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a brainstorm that we're having based on just doing these interviews. It's unbelievable. So I applaud you for doing it. It's fantastic. All right. So I told you I was going to ask you the last question. I always ask the growth question. So if you could meet or exceed your growth targets for JetRockets in the next 12 months, and you know that there's probably one thing at the top of your mind that might be the biggest hurdle on that, and if I could wave a magic wand and make that go away, what would that one thing be?
So funny you should say that, because I think this lack of chief of staff, that's exactly what you just mentioned, right? Is having someone take over this role, because we're still a small company. We're like 4-5 employees right now. So I wear a lot of different hats. Yeah. And one of those hats that I wear, and I actually truly enjoy it, but I probably counterproductive to the growth of the business, is sort of like the account management. I enjoy interacting with people. I enjoy knowing my clients. I enjoy knowing in their projects and in their business, in their lives. But it also takes a lot of energy and time away from me. So and I've tried to hire people to take that role from me, and I have not been successful. Like I've had certain people take on that responsibility, and they have not succeeded. So I think that is like one of our biggest impediments, is to be able to find that chief of staff. And like maybe it's AI, maybe it's it
might be a combo, right? Where you could give AI certain pieces, and then it's easier to hire the other stuff, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the only way for founders like you to accelerate is to free up so you can work on the strategic growth of the company. That's part of our mission of our podcast, as I told you before. So our whole goal in life is, how do we help folks like you get more streamlined so you can grow the company? Because the work's coming. Just know it. I mean, the work is coming. Products and platforms, I mean, you just look at the trends and the projections, they're ridiculous. And you need to be front and center, because the reason why I love what you do, and it's your approach. Your approach is the right way. You're a partner with the company. And if you start to think about some of the portfolio companies out there, right? The PE and the VC companies that build product and platform, like, you're the perfect partner for their portfolio. So again, introductions, we hope to connect through this podcast here in 2025. But Natalie, you have been an absolute delight. But please tell our whole audience how they get in touch. All the links will be below, but tell them how they get in touch with you and your firm and JetRockets.
Yes. So you can find us online at JetRockets.com. Fairly active on LinkedIn as well. So my name is Natalie Kaminski, and you spell that with an I at the end. Mm-hmm. And also, you can always email me at Natalie@JetRockets.com. Thank you.
Excellent. Natalie, thank you. Like I said, this has been a great interview, and I can't wait to get this thing live, and hopefully we can get you connected with anything that you need through the podcast. But really, just a pleasure having you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Excellent. Thank you. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.